It's just a tree. Good morning, everybody. Have I got a story for you today? You know, a lot of people think that when you're in a neighborhood that things are just, mundane. The same thing happens every day, and nothing ever is strange or anything like that. And it's just not that way. There's so many things that can go wrong in a neighborhood, and it's just kind of fascinating to go through all these things with you. Time and time again, we get these stories, and they just blow my mind, like daily. Today is just a doozy. We have racism. We have clearly not good neighborly conduct, and it ends up in an arrest of a fellow for going to be in the jail for 3 years. So we'll get to that soon. Picked up another subscriber yesterday. Now we're up to 16. So, 20 is not that far off. I'm pretty impressed by the numbers. So thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Schenk, and I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty here in St. Louis. We're a small firm, residential, light commercial, and so that's what we do. Let's get into the article. I think you'll all enjoy it, and that is with a headline of Indianapolis man gets 46 months for hate crime directed at neighbor. The first line is an Indianapolis man was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison Friday after pleading guilty to federal hate crime and weapons charges for threatening a black neighbor. I think the highlight of the article is literally one paragraph, and that says that the neighbor became incensed over the neighbor hiring a construction crew to remove a tree 1 year ago. And then he burned a cross above the fence line facing the neighbor's property. He displayed a swastika on his fence, displayed a large sign containing several anti-black racial slurs, displayed a machete near the sign, loudly played the Confederate anthem repeatedly, and threw eggs at the neighbor's house. And that's it. That's the article. But so much in such a small space. So, I have questions. Number one, the neighbor was incensed that another neighbor hired a crew to take down a tree. And then, my question is, what's up with the tree? It just seems like this was a bit overdone. Now, we've had a story out of Massachusetts, I believe, where the two neighbors end up going to the health board to one neighbor was complaining that the trees were overhanging their yard, and they wanted the city health department to say that it was a danger and that the tree should be taken down. That man had trees in his own property from another neighbor and said he enjoyed the trees, and so that was kind of fascinating there. This situation, for all we know, the person, the one neighbor was actually just taking down a tree in their own yard, property upkeep, maintenance, and then we have this other neighbor that just off the rails. So, it strikes me more and more that, even simple requests in a neighborhood just go haywire sometimes. And that does bring me to my next question is, like I said, I got to get the book, How to Have Impossible Conversations. I don't get any money off the book, but I need to read it because I'm trying to put this together. So, now that this happened, how would you talk about this issue with your neighbor and their tree? Would you try to go over and talk to the neighbor and say, hey, maybe a courtesy like, hey, I'm taking my tree down. Is that okay? don't don't burn a cross in my yard and throw eggs at my house. I mean, what in the world would you? I mean, after hearing the story, would you just try to go to the authorities and just start there and say, that, I'm taking down a tree, and if my neighbor loses it, would you please do something? Do you even need to tell your neighbor at all? I'm of the opinion that it was not neighborly for the fellow to, be racist and do those things. That's my opinion. Now, I don't know what happened with the tree. I don't know whose property it was on or anything like that, but you kind of went overboard, just quite a bit actually. So, what would you do? I think if I'm getting a tree cut down in my own yard, I might mention the neighbors I'm getting the tree cut down, but it's not required. But certainly something tripped this fellow off, and next I just wanted to say, boy, that escalated quickly. We go from anger over a tree to burning crosses, displaying swastikas, displaying a machete with a sign with anti-black slurs, throwing eggs at the house over a tree cut down in your neighborhood, in your own yard, we're assuming. I mean, I'm amazed. And so within the context of, a real estate agent and is there something we could have done to see this coming or something like that? So what I always tell my buyers, when you have a house under contract, when you are thinking about moving into a neighborhood that you're not familiar with, just a street, just if you're thinking about moving a street, you've never been on the street before in your life, you don't know, anything about the neighborhood, but you like the way the house looks, and so you put an offer, or you want to put an offer in. Drive the neighborhood, and drive it often. The neighborhood might be perfectly nice during the day, and then at night, crazy people come out. And it also could be opposite. You could come in the morning on your way to work, and there's nobody around, and by about noon, people are just everywhere and causing issues. Now, is that gonna prevent you 100% of the time from moving next to a racist? I don't know, but I do know that if there are some signs, at least you should be able to see that ahead of time. So that's what I've got for you today. I know it's not a long article, but just shocking behavior. Obviously, the fellow's been arrested, going to jail. I believe it's like 4 years. I don't know if that's enough. And I'm constantly amazed at this sort of thing. How in 2021 you can have a fellow go this far off the rails. I mean, I guess another thought would be, what would the HOA do in this neighborhood? Would he get a letter? And when would he get the letter? After the burning cross? Or the sign with the machete? Loud music? The eggs? Where does the HOA step in and say that's enough? So that's where I'm at today. Trees clearly cause issues between neighbors. And if you have a story about your neighbor and shrubbery or trees, send me an email, media@deerwoodrealtystl.com. Maybe you don't like to type, call me and leave a voicemail, 314-274-3964. And I'm curious, what is there ever something that you did on your property that you thought was totally fine and your neighbor just lost it? I know one time I had a blower, and I was blowing some leaves off of my driveway after I'd cut the grass, some clippings and whatnot, and man, my neighbor just got mad, and I to this day I really can't figure it out. I wasn't putting the stuff on her property, but she didn't talk to me for like a month, and that was over me using a blower on my property to blow the clippings onto my yard. So I can't imagine, the struggles we must all face in and this poor woman with, the neighbor and his burning crosses and whatnot. That's over a tree. So anyway, hope you all have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching or listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.